it takes a team. Like, I'd talked to my sister about it, talked to my husband about it, ask how they felt, and figure out where I was because in that 2-year gap, like I was sound about my decision, but at the same time, I did go through depression. Like it was, I definitely missed my mom. So yeah, I definitely had a lot of mixed feelings when she showed up. I'm like, well, can this work? Is this something we can go through? And that was where we, listed out our terms and everything.
Hello, and welcome to Healing Trauma Mamas. I'm your host, Madon Wingo. Thank you for joining us as we share in our stories and experiences of healing from childhood traumas and birth traumas. Listen as we discuss our struggles, our failures, our strengths, and our victories, and all those lessons we've learned along the way. Why, hello, Healing Trauma Mamas. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad you've decided to join us today for another amazing story from a mama who you may be familiar with. She's actually been on the podcast a couple of times already. She was one of the original guests on the podcast, actually. She helped come up with Healing Trauma Mamas and helps run the Facebook page and is the catalyst for us even starting this podcast. So I'm so extremely thankful that I get to have Alyssa back on the podcast today and the amazing news stories that she's going to get to share with you guys. She has a whole nother birth that she hasn't got to share with you guys yet. But so with that, Alyssa, do you want to say hi to the listeners for a minute?
Hi. Yeah, thank you for such a beautiful introduction, Madon. You really made me feel super special, and I love that about you. Um, and hello, listeners. I hope that I can give you some fun insights and at least a good story.
I'm always up for a good story, and I know the listeners
Oh,
are
yeah.
too. So we will for sure enjoy that. Um, let's kind of recap just a little bit, I think, since you have been on the podcast a few times before. So I'm just going to do a brief recap unless you would like to do the brief recap.
I will let you do the recap, and if I have anything to add, I will
Throw
do
in.
so. Yes.
Perfect. So, Alyssa, is actually one of the clients when I was a student that I had worked with that really helped me see some connections between trauma and birth and what was happening. And she was a really amazing young woman who really advocated for herself and what she wanted in her first birth and having a home birth and having zero vaginal exams for that first birth, and she did outstanding, and she succeeded in her goals and, delivered a beautiful baby boy at home. However, there were a lot of things that came up with that birth, a lot of family dynamics, a lot of, past trauma stuff that came up and came out that she wasn't aware of, and she'd already had a lot that she was aware of that she had been working through and working on healing, and so I think, becoming a mom, it's gonna bring up a lot of things, especially when you have trauma involving your mom and your dad, and so Alyssa has, shared very beautifully on the podcast about her history with trauma and sexual abuse and family dynamics and really generational continued abuse that she said is going to stop with me. And so she is a cycle breaker and she is continuing that through her family. And she's also come on the podcast to share about her second birth before and how that was a bit of a different experience for her. And some things happened in that birth. I would encourage you to go back and look up Alyssa's birth stories. I combined Alyssa and birth. Look up Alyssa's birth stories. She'll have 2 different, episodes, with us, and I'll make sure and link those in the show notes, but I encourage you to go back and listen to those and hear all about Alyssa's great journey. Her sister has come and talked on the podcast as well, sharing in her journey of healing, and it's just been a beautiful, neat, like, you both are such, cycle breakers and really just working to establish new patterns and new ways for your families and these new dynamics and just establishing a family based on love and trust. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And you have now had a third baby, and it is just a neat part of your journey. And I think there's been a lot more healing that's happened in your family as well. And I would love to see what you would like to share about all of that.
Absolutely. I'm gonna take it back to the beginning there because you brought up the no vaginal checks, and I just wanted to reiterate on advocating for myself and whatnot. I was only able to go through all of that because of the people in my corner. My husband was my absolute rock in that. He knew what was going to work for me and what was not because we talked thoroughly about it. But also the midwife that I had, she she wanted, because this was my first birth, she wanted to see what it was like to do a vaginal check to see if that would even work for us during labor. So I did do like a um test, if you will, at about 39 weeks. And yeah, she said I was pretty much like I was shut. I would not let her in. And so we both had decided that that would not work for labor because that would probably send me to the hospital.
Mm.
So I was most comfortable without having vaginal checks. I did the research on it and felt that they were unnecessary. Um, so anyone, I think it's good to do your own research on things for sure, and yeah, have good people in your corner to not make you doubt yourself. Um,
Amen.
yeah, and then right, and then second birth, that's where all the doubts came in. Don't know why exactly, if I've got all the speculations on, if having a boy versus a girl does something different to your brain chemistry or whatnot, but um I was very different with my daughter's birth, and that could have also been related to, cutting off some of my family, so I was a lot more neurotic at that time in my life. But a lot of healing came between my daughter and my 3rd, um, because yeah, because of the breaks I had made and, healing of some of them, I did invite my mom back into my life. I still do not have, the majority of people on her side of the family in my life at all, and I let her know that I do not want them in my life, and she has respected that boundary. She has apologized to me. She went to counseling for me and my sister. We were able to talk to her and basically set terms and boundaries on how we feel because, it was not necessarily my mom's fault that a lot of our trauma happened to us, but she did take responsibility for not doing anything about it. Because some of it she kind of knew and she just ignored, which was really unfortunate, but I appreciate that we have been going through a healing journey of, her accepting her part in what happened.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm so glad.
yeah,
And
I
it's a
hope that wasn't too
process.
broad. Feel free to ask deeper
No.
detail if you feel like I left anything
No, I think
out.
that's a beautiful process, and I think you cover a lot of it in the other podcast episodes too. I think we
Okay.
cover a lot of that, but not to where you are kinda now, so I love that you guys
Yes.
have definitely let her in more, and that has been beautiful for you, and, I'm really thankful for both of you in that, and I'm sure for her, that's a really great thing, and she's on, her own healing journey. Um,
Yes.
I'm
I think
I'm
it's
sure.
important that everyone gets their moment to heal because even people who have, you think, gone down the deep end, there's only up. There's always only up. I don't know,
Yeah,
and
that's
in my
right.
opinion, I think
Yeah,
everyone has
I'm
a
with
right to
you.
heal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and at any point in time, you can make the decision to start doing that. It's any point in
absolutely.
time. Like,
Yeah,
in the next moment, next
yeah,
thought,
so
next second, you can decide,
yeah,
"Okay, no more of this.
exactly.
I'm healing." Yeah,
Exactly, and sometimes it takes a break. Sometimes it takes that kind of jerk wake in reality check that to
yeah.
make people move forward in their lives and grow.
It
So
really does, and I think if I recall right, I mean, you had written your mom that letter before, and you had
yeah,
really, like, had her not be a part of your life for quite a
it
while
was
and step
2
back.
years. Yeah. 2 years we hadn't talked, and she actually had arrived on my doorstep on my daughter's birthday, her first birthday, and she didn't know. She did not know it was my daughter's first birthday. Um, yeah, she had broken her leg and healed from that, and, well, was in the process of healing from that when she decided that she just couldn't do it anymore. She wanted her to be a part of her girls' lives, basically, and yeah, we
How
had
did
a
that
whole
feel for her to suddenly show up on your doorstep?
oh, I was horrified. I actually shut the door in her face, and went and called my husband, and he got to that door in, like, 10 minutes from Odessa. So, he hightailed it over there and, like, made her, yeah, sit on the porch and came and talked to me and basically asked, like, "What do you wanna do about this?" And I'm like, "Well, like, I'm shocked, but I also kinda wanna hear her out." And so we got my sister, in on it too and asked her how she felt and what she wanted to do, and, um, yeah, we all 3 wound up talking, and a lot of, misunderstandings were brought forward, but also apologies and understanding that she didn't, realize the pain that she had caused us and
Mm.
did account for that. So, I think we had a really good, I don't know if it's like a 4 or 5-hour conversation and then some. And, I didn't let her
Well, it was a
back in
good
right away.
start.
I basically told her that, showing up on my doorstep was breaking a boundary, and I wasn't very happy about that, but I will talk to you. I think I literally told her, "Let give it next year," because it was September at the time, and I told her, "I'll talk to you in the new year. I gotta breathe from this a little bit." So,
Good
and she did.
job.
She didn't reach out or talk to us, for those couple of months, and then we reached out to her and went from there.
Good job. Good job
Yeah.
keeping that boundary and standing up for
Yeah,
yourself because that could have felt definitely like you're being like almost. I'm trying to think of what the best way to not it's not steamrolled, but that like a shock and awe thing, like, "Hi, I'm at your doorstep, now you have to talk to me," type of thing.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, pressure there and all of that,
Yeah,
so I think that's a really great job to be like, "Whoa, hold on, I still need to protect myself and the boundaries that I have set,"
yeah.
and then what maturity to show that like, "Hey, I am gonna hear you out. I do want healing, but I need time and I still need to, wait." And that was like super great. Like what amazing growth I would say for you to be able to
Thank
do that.
you.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
it takes a team, like, had talked to my sister about it, talked to my husband about it, ask how they felt and, figure out where I was because in that 2-year gap, like, I was sound about my decision, but at the same time, I did go through a depression, like, I definitely missed my mom. So, yeah, I definitely had a lot of mixed feelings when she showed up. I'm like, "Well, can this work? Is this something we can go through?" And that was where we, listed out our terms and everything and said, "Oh, sorry, I'm, like, shivering. I need a blanket."
Well,
Um,
take a
but
moment too to regulate your system because we're talking about things that you haven't got to talk about in a while. And
that's so
so,
true.
yeah, so I would say like Christy Davis, who's been on the podcast before, would talk about regulating your system in this moment when you start feeling that. Like
Yeah.
try to think about your jaw and help it relax and maybe even like shake your hands to kind of shake it out. Let that nervous energy kind of get out a little bit. I completely understand. Like that
Yeah.
used to be my response a lot. And it rarely happens anymore, but occasionally it still does. And I'll immediately start shivering and like I'm so crazy cold and my jaw will get so tense and everything. And it used to be like a lot. And it's extremely rare that it happens anymore, thankfully. But great steps to be able to like help your body just kind of bring it down a moment. Like, it's okay.
Right.
You're safe,
Yeah.
you're good. We're just having a conversation about some of this.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
I, whew, went on to get pregnant with my 3rd, and, oh my
It
gosh,
was about time.
he was just such a blessing, and it was, I don't know, just after so much of what we had worked on and the healing and everything, I don't know, he just brought a lot of light to our lives is the best way to put it, and I was super grateful that I was able to have you as my midwife, um, wholeheartedly just you. It was great.
Kind of
Um,
funny because it was in every
yeah.
I was in a different role with each birth of
Yes. Yeah,
yours.
yeah, first
Yeah,
the assistant,
it's kind of fun.
then then my midwife, 100%, and
Yeah.
that was wonderful. I will say it was kind of funny. The the tables turned. It was no longer I can't say no longer. My family had less of the drama side, and then all of a sudden it was my husband's family that picked up on the drama, and that's because we had chose to basically not tell anybody, that we were pregnant until last minute, and at the time, and I will say that I think it was still a good idea because I had a very peaceful, calm, laid back pregnancy where I wasn't being told a billion scary birth stories or, I don't know. They're very yeah, Paul's family doesn't necessarily put any effort into being in your life, and so it's not like they were super missed, but they were very mad that they didn't know, and so
Mm.
that hurt a little bit because apparently they found out early on and then just didn't talk to us until we told them, and then they basically told us they knew all along, and they were icing us out on purpose because yeah, anyway,
Ooh,
that was hurtful. It's never
wow.
fun to hear that, especially when you're pregnant. For me, have a rule of thumb, just don't make pregnant people angry or sad or anything because the hormones are like 10 feet tall.
That's a good way to describe them.
Yes, yes, and so I was distraught in my last month. And I don't know, that upset me a bit, but otherwise, how I labored with my 3rd, I think, was my favorite. Um, I was very in tune with my husband that go around. I got to dance to Danny Go with my kids. Um, tripped in the backyard, like, it was I don't know, it was just a funny labor to me. There were so many goofy moments, and, yeah, I don't know, it was beautiful. My sister got to be there this time, which she had missed the first 2, arriving late on the first one and having to leave early on the second one, and so this it was just kind of a golden moment where she actually got to be there for this one, um, and watch me labor and whatnot, and yeah, she doesn't have any kids yet, so, I was hoping that I put on a good performance for her to not scare her. So, I don't know, it was beautiful all around, I'd say.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Was there any yeah, I think of just fun with that labor for you as well.
Yeah,
Um, and I think there was a little bit of, because you were at a place at the last birth that you still had some things that you were struggling with and some things that were going on. I feel like it added a lot of extra anxiety to the birth before, and you mentioned that there was extra added
a little bit.
anxiety to
Yeah.
Iris's birth. Um,
Yeah.
but then this this birth, I felt like you didn't have all that this time. Like there
No, I
wasn't.
I had trusted you wholeheartedly. So, the previous birth, I don't feel like I had shared enough with my midwife to really help her understand where I was at. Like, I'd already had a birth, so I figured, I can do this. There's, nothing new here, and so with the second one, I feel like I just didn't share enough with her, and so when she had, um again, she felt that it was necessary to help the baby and prevent a shoulder dystocia, which there wasn't, like, baby's shoulder was okay, I was okay, baby never went blue or anything, but basically, she put her hand in me, and that is something that made me, super uncomfortable, cringe, I screamed at her, I felt bad for screaming at her afterwards, but, would not wanna do that again, so that wasn't fun. I had the anxiety build up too of she did bring up a lot on just birth stories, the fact that she had to send several moms to the hospital because of, baby being turned the wrong way, I think was the main reason. And so it just kind of yeah, it built that anxiety for me of the what ifs. What if something goes wrong? And then yeah, being touched in a way that I was not comfortable with during the labor, messed with my head a little bit. So I was grateful during my thirds that when his chest got a little stuck, you talked to me about it and you just helped him wiggle out and you didn't even really have to touch me. So I really appreciated that.
Well, it was something we kinda talked about because
It
I was at
was,
the other
yeah.
birth too, and it was interesting because it's just it's something to think about. Because as well, I was in the capacity of your doula that
Yes.
time, and, it was really interesting because we all assume things, right?
Right,
So,
right.
I assumed because
Paul has a big
I
head.
knew you and that's true.
Well, then she took one look at him in the first meeting. I don't know if I ever brought this up, but in the first meeting, she looks at him and she's like, "I actually deal with a lot of shoulder dystocia cases because there's a lot of big men around here." And that should have been my red flag
I get
warning.
that. I get
Yeah,
that. Well, it is something we look at. You see dad with big,
I'm
broad
sure.
shoulders and a big head, and you're like, "Okay, okay, she's a little woman, but she can do it." But there's also this, like, for me as a doula, I was under the assumption because of yours and my history, and we had this podcast, and you had talked, very open on the podcast, and my assumption was your midwife knew about that relationship and knew about
Right,
that endeavor, and in my head, she must have listened to the podcast episodes, and I'm
right,
sure that you guys had a relationship and you had talked and shared about your past sexual trauma and about your stuff and the reason you didn't have a vaginal exam with any of, with your first and all that. But is it my right understanding that those conversations never happened and she didn't know about any of the stuff?
right. Well, and I think I
Yeah.
actually remember, I had written it down for our first interview, but I think I literally just told her, "I had childhood trauma, I don't want vaginal checks," and that's what I left it at. I don't think I told her any more.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
So
it's interesting because we choose to keep things quiet sometimes and that makes perfect sense that you would. But then also on the provider side, if we don't know the information, like granted, we should always ask permission before we touch,
right,
always ask consent before we do things. There are occasional, like, instances where we have an emergency situation and we don't have time to explain to you, what's going on and we need to do it.
right.
Um, but we do hesitate more or would
Try something
be a
different.
little more careful or try something different if we're aware of previous stuff. And sometimes that's hard because we're not aware, and sometimes the client's not even aware of some of that stuff. And then it comes out, we're like, oh, that would make sense now. So
Right,
it's just interesting on both sides. You didn't say some things, and maybe questions weren't asked to get more information out, and so that made, the dynamic a little bit different, maybe not as quite connected as you had been with your first midwife,
right,
and you were at a different place in life, and you had some other stressors going on as well, and, the midwives have a life too, and they have different things going on, and you have no clue what the birth before yours looked like, and that unfortunately, that does happen where I mean, we do our best never to bring the last birth into the next birth, but
that
we're
makes
human
sense.
too. And so that, so there are times where if I just dealt with the worst shoulder dystocia of my life with this other baby who is still in the NICU, and then
Mhm.
your baby starts to look like a shoulder dystocia, I'm gonna respond faster than I might have normally,
Right,
and I might
right.
respond with a little bit of my own trauma. I'm not saying that this is what your midwife did at all. I don't know. I am just
But
saying,
yeah,
like,
I
I
think
have as a
yeah,
provider, I feel that a little bit, and we do our best not to ever
yeah,
bring that stuff in, but it happens. We're human, and that happens
exactly.
too, and
I
so
was gonna say,
there's a lot
it's
of
perfectly
dynamics.
human. It's perfectly human, like, we can't yeah, can't expect you guys to be robots, and I don't think anyone hires a midwife to be a robot. I mean, we
No.
hire for the human side of you guys because you put that compassion and that care into it. Um, so yeah, I think the way you described it is, disconnected. We did not have a strong connection, like, we had an acquaintanceship, and it needed to be a connection. 'Cause
Yeah.
I may have responded better if I felt, more of a friendship or trust towards her, and I just never built that with her.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well well, I'm sad for you that you didn't have that and
Yeah.
that,
Well, and I'm sure she's
uh
wonderful for so many people, like, I yeah.
but there's you have connections with different people, and you're going
Yeah.
to resonate with different ones. That's why we as midwives encourage, like, go interview everybody that you can, in your area, and then hire
Yes.
the one that you really connect with. And it's great when you have options and you can do that. It stinks that we have so many areas right now that have one serving midwife, and you don't get
Yes.
options. I hate it when clients call me from certain areas, potential clients, and I can't say to them, "Go interview all the other midwives in the area," because they
Right,
can't.
you're the
I'm
only
the only
option.
one, and I hate to be like, "Well, I don't know that I'm the perfect midwife for you, but I will do my best."
Yeah.
You don't have other options. I am the only option at the moment for this area, and so, I will do my best for us to build a great relationship, but there are always some that you just don't connect quite as well with, and there's others that you become lifelong friends and, you will be at every single one of their births.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, it's just yeah, it does stink though on your side when there's things that happen and you're like, "Man, I wish that coulda gone
Yeah.
a little bit different.
Well, and so
That would have been helpful
yeah,
for you."
I can wish, but I mean, honestly, I couldn't have asked for anything better because I did get to have you for all 3 births, which made that I don't know, my entire birth experience thus far very special to me. Um, and I don't know, I think you can't grow without having some crap happen. Like, you need fertilizer in your
Does
life.
teach us a lot.
Yes.
That's true.
So
And every
so yeah,
single
I
birth
can't be upset about it.
well, and every single birth you experience as the mom, you learn something. And you learn something
Absolutely.
about yourself, and you learn something about birth, and you learn something about what you like or don't like, in it, or
Yeah.
what you might want to do a little bit differently, or that you for sure want to do again, those types of things. And as midwives, we learn new things at every single birth too. Like if I ever am not looking forward to learning something at a birth, then I need to quit. I'm done because every single birth is unique. We learn something at every single one. There is always an opportunity for learning and growing and seeing things a little bit different. So
Right.
I love, as unique everybody's personality is and likes and dislikes. I mean, that's how unique every single birth is. So I love that about birth and it's beautiful. But this whole learning and growing thing, it's just amazing. And it's such a beautiful opportunity for us as humans and moms to really like mature and grow in our everyday, just walk in this beautiful creation that we get to be in.
Right? I know it kinda makes
Yeah.
me think of, just milestones for babies, like, it never stops. You're hitting new milestones throughout your entire life, and it's really funny to look back and go, "Wow, yeah, I'm 31 now, so I totally see where through my 20s I learned this
That's
and
a
this," and
great way to
so
put
many
that.
other 20-year-olds, like, hit those same markers there. And, of course, everyone hits at different times, but there is definitely a pattern, so I'm calling it milestones. Life
I like
milestones.
that. I think that's a great way
Yeah.
to put it. Like we're still hitting milestones.
Yes.
Absolutely. And
Every
man, and
day.
I'm looking forward to I just got to meet with some good friends of mine. We meet about every year, and we live quite a ways away from each other. We don't get to see each other that often. We get to talk on the phone, but we've been trying to meet up at least every year. And we were laughing this last time that we met a couple weeks ago, and we were just going, "Wow, I can't I can't wait to share what we've learned for this year when we get to meet next year because it's going to be so
Yes.
fun because this year we're sharing all these amazing things from this past year and it's all just things that all of us are learning and growing in and maturing in and just new revelations about just who we are and our identity and getting to walk in creation and with people in community. Like it's just such an amazing, fun life that
Oh,
we get to live. And I get too excited about it because it's just like, wow, what's tomorrow going to bring? What's the next
Right?
year going to bring? Like lots of great new milestones. That's how I'm going to start
Yes,
saying it
yes.
now.
Cool,
It's
huh?
beautiful.
Trendsetter right here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there we go. That's right. Trademarked
Oh, man.
by Alyssa.
Yep. There we
Adult
go.
milestones. I love it. Well,
Oh,
how did postpartum go after this
oh my
labor?
goodness. Well, I was so grateful. So postpartum is actually the one I felt I needed the mental prep for most after my first postpartum was horrid, I will say. Like, I had to learn how to sit on the potty correctly because first postpartum, you get your first, bowel movement, nothing feels right anymore, and so, yeah, I had to learn how to sit on the potty right, like, I learned that I couldn't run because my hips were off, like, there's just so much like, my body just fell for it, and I'm sure many women can attest to that, but, yeah, it was awful. So second one, that was my mental prep. I went to the chiropractor because that's what my midwife told me to do, and I'm super grateful to her for that. So second one, I had chiropractor prep for my hips. And then like my husband had the trash can with the lid prep for all the postpartum stuff. Like we prepared for that. But the third postpartum, I don't know why. I don't know if my body was just a little bit more used to having babies, if it was because my sister was there. I had you as a midwife. My husband and I were at a very good connected place. I feel like I healed a lot faster on my 3rd one. I was sunnier, I was happier, I barely hit baby blues, like, I cried, like, a couple days and that was
Beautiful.
it. Like, it was wonderful. Um, yeah, I can't pick a favorite kid or whatever, but I will say that postpartum-wise, like, my my 3rd
Your
little one
favorite.
is my sunshine. Like, he
Aw,
brought
I
all the
love it.
sunshine into the life. Yeah. Then it carries through and his smiles and his laugh every day. He is growling right now at animals, and it's the cutest thing, like, yeah, I'm so in love with my family and everything that we've gone through together and grown from, and, I really feel like I'm soaking up this baby stage with him more so than I was able to do with the other 2.
That's
So
beautiful.
that's
That's a
yeah,
great thing to get to do.
it is. It's been really nice.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
what's something that you think, you'd like to share with the listeners just about, your journey through the 3 births and so much healing that has happened and so much more healing to come? As
Yeah.
you know, it's a process. It's not a arrival. Um, so so what's something that you would like to share, or it's just some big bullet points?
Um, I'd say my biggest bullet point, and I'm taking this out of your book a little bit because this is advice you've given me, but the husband comes first.
Mm,
Lean on your partner. He is there for you. He is your everything. That is who you're gonna be with at the end of times for you. Like, that is your person. Lean into them. Tell them how you feel. Tell them what you need. Um, and yeah, grow from there. Like, if you 2 are solid and you can make it through, the rest of life isn't hard.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
So,
Well, that was wise
that's my
words I
main
said.
thing.
I don't remember that, but okay.
That was bullet points. That was number 1.
Well, I
Yeah.
do I have thought about that often because I do remember seeing different couples and stuff when I was a younger mom myself and seeing them really explode or implode and seeing some different things happen, and the big things I saw was that they kept putting the children first and their relationship was always coming last,
Yeah.
and that put such a strain on the 2, but if you do it the opposite and you put that effort and really just keep that connection and keep growing and take the time to really, "Yep, we've got little kids, but we're still gonna spend some alone time here, and
Yeah.
we're gonna just set that aside time for us to both really keeping that deep connection," well, then you're gonna parent better. You're gonna be on the same team and you're gonna be
Absolutely.
working together so much better. And yeah, you're right. Everything will be so much better because you're doing it together and you have this deep
Please.
connection and this tight relationship.
Absolutely, because it's I mean, everyone's experienced it where you're mad at the other person, and so you hold it in and you're giving them the evil eye throughout the day or whatever. Don't do that. Say what you mean in the moment, because otherwise you're carrying that, grudge, that whatever, throughout the entire whole household and putting everyone down. Um, yeah, it goes into your whole life, so always be open with your partner. It
Yeah,
matters.
absolutely. Completely agree. As a person who used to hold a grudge, be mad, stomp around,
Right.
slam things, or make
Go
sure
to
when
bed
I put up
early.
the dishes, it was really loud, that type of a
Yeah.
thing. When I'm like, "Can't he see? Doesn't he know why I'm mad?" No, none of that is helpful, and
Read
it's
your
not
mind.
truthful, really. It's not being
Yeah.
honest with your partner at all. When
Yeah.
you can instead talk to each other honestly and be like, "Hey, you know what? When you said this thing or you did this thing, it made me feel like this, and I would really like for us to see this or that together. This is what I would really like." And that honesty, oh my goodness, so much is gonna come from that. You're gonna learn things about each other. You're gonna really be able to grow better together, because you're gonna be able to have a deeper relationship than you ever have before. And I think
Oh, yeah.
actually my husband and I were having a conversation. It was actually I think last week, and some comment had been made. We were just having a conversation, and I said, "Really? What is it that you like so much about me?"
Aw.
Because he mentioned something about it, and he was like, "I think the biggest thing is how deep our relationship has grown and how deeply connected we are.
Aw.
It's on a completely different level than it ever has been."
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah, that's
beautiful.
gonna make me cry because it's like,
Yeah,
yes, like, it's so amazing and beautiful, and again,
exactly what
just
you
like we
wanna
were
hear.
talking about. Yeah. Well, when we talk about those milestones, like, yes, that's great. What's
Yeah.
next year gonna be like? Like, oh my goodness, it's just gonna keep
Aw.
growing and getting deeper and better, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. Oh, that is
Yeah.
awesome. So, on all that, my 6th anniversary is on Tuesday. It's on the 6th.
Yay!
Yeah,
On the
so
6th.
I
How
on the
fun.
6th,
6
yeah.
on the 6th.
Yep,
That's
so
beautiful.
in 2026, it's
So are you 2 gonna
that's a
take some
little
time,
funny.
like we were just talking about, of making sure you guys are able to do
I
something
would definitely
together?
it's on a Tuesday, so I don't know. Like, we did
That's
get
kinda
to
weird.
go,
Midweek,
um
yeah.
yeah, we did get to go as a family to the Evelyn Zoo, and that was a blast. Um,
Oh,
but
wonderful.
no, I may have to reach out and find a babysitter. It just
Yeah,
depends on his crazy work schedule. We may wait
yeah.
till the weekend.
Well, what we found a lot is it's not even those, like, huge moments where you're able to do things, it's all those small moments where
Yes,
you're like, "Hey, I need to run to hey, why don't let's go on a date." Like, let's
right.
just, or we don't have money to go on a date, but
Let's
we
light some
need
candles.
light bulbs from Home Depot. So let's go window shop and dream together at Home Depot. And we
Aw.
have had, I
Oh,
remember when we were like
you said a lot.
very,
You
very
said
poor.
that a lot.
And and we just went to Home Depot. We didn't buy, like I remember once we didn't buy anything, but we'd buy, like, the littlest thing or whatever that we needed, like batteries or, who knows what, paper towels or something. And we just dreamed is what we would do. We would just walk
Yeah,
through all the different aisles and look at all the different plants, and we would just dream together about future stuff. And
that
that
is
was
actually one of our
such a
favorite things
great
to
date.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, those
Oh,
dates are just, I don't know, so meaningful. Or even when we would just there were times where we didn't have a sitter, we couldn't go out, we couldn't do anything, and we set up a movie for the kids in the living room. I'm like, "You guys are in here. You are not allowed to come into mom and dad's room." And I set up a dinner
very
with a
cool.
little
Oh.
table in our room just for him and I, just to have a quiet dinner,
Aw,
just the 2
that's
of
a cute
us.
idea.
Kids were out in the other room, but we got to have that quiet, time together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can be creative, and it's those little, times like that. It's not the big, huge, like,
Production and
celebratory
everything.
things, like all of that.
Yeah,
It's not the Valentine's that's always amazing or the anniversary that's always amazing. It's the moments, day by day where you take or when you text each other throughout the day, just like, "Hey, thinking about you." You know?
right.
Just those types of things help keep you so connected to each other.
Yes, I completely agree with that. You're giving me ideas for our anniversary, by the way, because I haven't put as much thought into it here as I thought I would have, but I've got 2 days. I've got 2 days. I will make something magical happen.
There you go. You got some ideas. That's okay.
Yes.
Oh, man, there's so many times where it's like the best thing was just a conversation that we had, or a walk that we took together, you know? Stuff
Oh
like
my
that.
goodness.
Like, I can
We
remember different moments.
we actually spent all day sitting down figuring out planning for the year and all of the new house projects we wanna do.
Yes, I get that.
So,
Yeah, that's a lot of
yeah.
fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that was your number 1 to share with
Yes,
the
that was my
listeners
number
about.
1.
Yeah, so put your spouse first and really pour into that
Yes,
relationship. 'Kay.
and,
Do you
get
have another?
I do. Get sleep where you can.
Amen to that.
Right? Yeah, take it where you can get it. Oh,
Yes,
man.
absolutely, especially when you
No.
have young children. I mean, when you
Yeah.
get well, I always thought, like, as the children got older, that you'd get better sleep because everybody's sleeping in their own beds and stuff.
Oh,
But
no.
what's interesting is not necessarily because 'cause they're climbing in bed with you too, and I'll say, "Would you love the snuggles?" Absolutely. You never know when the last time they're gonna climb in bed and snuggle with you is. Which I won't allow. Like, I climbed in bed with my 19-year-old recently and my 20-year-old, so, they're not gonna get out of that. But what's really interesting is you think that they'll get better sleep as they get older, and you think as you get to they're becoming teenagers, you're like, "Okay, now I'll get much better sleep." But then they're not all home all the time, and they have different
So
things happening, and instead, you're like, "Man, I can't sleep because he's still over or he's still working, or there's somewhere, or they all went to the movies together and they're not home yet," or different things like that.
Oh my goodness.
Even with having 2 adult children in the house, I feel like that happens often where I'm like, "Well, I really can't sleep yet because everybody's not in their beds," and well, that's what's interesting. I think it's just a mama thing always, but yes, take the time to get the sleep where you can, even if it's a quick power nap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think those are my 2 main points, and if you wanna heal a relationship, it does not hurt to try, and if, yeah, if you try and it doesn't go through, then you know that that person is not for you. No, that was my big lesson this last Christmas. I go deep dive into that one. We had, Paul's siblings come stay with us at the trailer or in our trailer, over Christmas, and, we invited, said if anyone would like to stay with us, we'd love to have y'all. They got up at, like, 8 AM every morning, went straight over to Graham's house, and came back after the kids went to bed. I After day 5, I finally had a conversation with them. I'm like, "Listen, my kids were looking forward to having their aunties here, and you guys were not here. Like, we want you in our lives. We invited you because we want you, and you did not take that opportunity, and I'm sad about it. I would like to see that you do better next time, and if they don't step up to that after I talk to them, then I just know they're just not for us."
Yeah,
So, that
I
was
get that.
that was disheartening, but, um, at the same time, it's like, have those conversations as soon as you can because for me, talking to Paul, I'm like, "I really don't want this weighing and festering on me all year long, where I'm just gonna be sad about this. I need to say something to them," and I did, and I felt good about saying something. Yeah,
Good job.
they had a million excuses of, "Well, we just don't know when Graham's gonna die," basically, and all of this. I'm like, "She's welcome at my house too." Or like we told Graham and Paul's mom, uh, we are not going over there unless invited because of that's a boundary we set. We're not just gonna show up unless invited because yeah, whole 'nother train there, but nobody invited us over. They got up, left every day, and came back super late just to basically use our trailer. So yeah, we're feeling pretty done with holidays,
Hmm,
at least on that end. But it's good to know and not sit and think about it for too long to where it
good
just
job.
burns you out. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking up and saying truths to them and
Yes.
what they do with it is on them. It's their task, not yours. So,
Absolutely.
um,
Confrontation can be hard, but at the same time, it needs to happen or it just wears you out.
it's very true. And then you can be
Yeah,
confident in what you said and know, hey, I did what I needed to do. Stood up for myself and
exactly.
my family, and they are the
Yes.
ones missing out, by the way. When
I
people
know, I
do
know.
that stuff, you're like, "You know what? You're the one missing
Yeah,
out. I feel sorry for you."
right? Like, my kids are
Mm.
awesome, so,
Yep,
um,
yep, I get that. Thanks for sharing that.
yeah, 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 definitely had a lot of changes, a lot of growth, a lot of figuring life out and who's there for us and who's not, and, um, yeah, and what we want out of life and figure I hate that the kids have to learn lessons like that so early. I hope that they had the best Christmas ever. Paul and I tried our very best to make it magical for them.
Mm, you guys do a good job like that, so it's very nice.
Thank
You
you.
both are very, very dedicated to your children, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming back on the podcast to share. I love it.
Ab
I appreciate it,
Yes, it
and,
was a wonderful conversation.
yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's lots of little nuggets in here. And it's great to hear your voice and great to be able to just kind of, go over a little bit of things. And I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and same to you.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you next time.
Yes, possibly. You just call.
Uh, well, you'll always have more to share. We got to have you on at least once a year. You don't have to have a baby to come back on the podcast.
Okay, fair, fair. I will
Okay.
update you on all the juiciness. I hope the listeners enjoyed.
I'm sure they did. Thanks so much, Alyssa.
Thank you, madame.
Thank you for listening. May you be encouraged and strengthened by what you've heard today. Remember, you are dearly loved by your Creator, so be who He created you to be. May you go in peace, friends. Till next time, Shalom.